We are on day 32 in our Believing Bigger journal. However, we're on day 2 of disruption. And yesterday we talked about, disruption and how it can be really used to realign us, to propel us, to step us into a better version of ourselves. And tagging on that, today's is desert seasons. And we've probably all had desert seasons in our life, seasons where things are just dry and we're thirsting for more and we're wandering around in the desert looking for our promised land and not totally convinced that it's even coming or that it's there. But I want you to know and realize and be reminded that being a follower of Christ does not somehow exempt us from hardship or seasons where we feel like we're wandering around alone. We aren't ever alone, but sometimes that season of wandering around alone can actually strengthen us. And so when you think about something hard, I want you to think about something heavy. And if you've ever wanted to get really strong, you lift weights. It's the resistance that makes you stronger and better, that you can handle more and do more, lift more, be more. So remember that that is such an important part. So sometimes, disappointment can chip away at our faith. It can help us question, is God really there? But I want you to think about, how is God inviting you to shift that perspective and see a bigger message and mission at work, especially if you're going through something hard. Whenever I do a series like this, I'm reminded that some of you are going through some really, really deep, dry valleys in your life. And never once do I ever want you to hear me and think, well, it's easy for her to say. I've had my own deep, dark valleys in my life. And when you're going through that, sometimes when people are all like, yeah, you can be like, really frustrated with them and feel like they don't understand. I want you to know I do understand. I do hear you. I see you. I pray for you. But I also don't want you to stay in that desert. I want you to move through that desert. You're never deserted. You're being deployed. You're being developed. I'm sorry. Let me start over. God never deserts you. You're never deserted. You're being developed for a greater deployment. Now, maybe you feel like, I'm being developed for a greater deployment and I didn't want to be deployed. I never signed up for the Army. I never signed up for this. But God has a plan for us. He has a purpose for us. And He has a deployment for us. And sometimes that takes us through the desert. Just know He's always there holding you up. But if you can do something good with this disruption, it won't be for nothing. And you might even look back and say, I enjoy my calling. I would never ask for that disruption again, but where that disruption is taking me, I'm okay with that. I'll do the work here. I'll do what God has called me to do. So with that, I will let you do your own journaling on how is a recent disappointment chipped away at your faith. How is God inviting you to shift your perspective to see a bigger message and mission at work? How do you see yourself being developed, or how have you developed in the last, let's just say, several months if you've gone through a disruption, a desert time? And how do you see that sending you into a greater deployment? Until tomorrow, bye-bye.